What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be installing the light up star on the W204. Now, not only that, but I actually want to show you guys actually how to hook it up to the fuse box using a fuse tap, and also why it's probably the best way to do it and the easiest way, rather than hooking it up to like LED lights or the headlights or the parking lights. This is the best way to do it and the easiest way to do it, so that you never have to worry about battery drainage or the fact that it's going to mess with any other of your lighting features. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get right into it, eh, Bazzazz? Yeah. Now, let's do it. Bazzazz, can you please go and get me a trim removal tool? Okay, guys, now the first thing you want to do when it comes to installing the star is actually remove these air intake ducts, because you have to remove these in order to remove the top cover. Now, once you remove the air ducts and the top cover, you can simply pull up. Okay, and just to remove this air intake, all you have to do is press down on that tab like so, and then it will free it to release it. So first things first, this is how I remove it. Now, I do know people remove it different ways, but this is probably the best way, because if you try to take out this part first, you don't actually have enough room to pull it back. So what I do is I pull back on this, wiggle it off, and then this part will come out. We pop around to the other side, do the same thing, pull back on it, wiggle, and this part comes out. Oh, don't worry about that. That's actually very common, guys, because the thing is, these things get brittle after a while because of all the heat from the engine, and then they end up breaking. So be careful, don't squeeze on this part too hard. But as long as it's all in one piece without any holes, it's still fine. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to remove this. Now, in order to remove it, it's actually clipped in. So the first thing you want to do is there's two parts, here and here. All right, now it's where the hood release cable is to. So all you have to do is pull it a little bit towards the engine and then lift it up, but not too much so you break it, like so, and then it just lifts up. Now do the same to the other side, like so, and there you go. Now all you have to do is press down on the clip here and move it forward, and it unclips. I'm going to show you guys a closer picture of it after I do it. Okay, now it's freed up, as you can see. Then we need to free it. So we just turn this little knob here counterclockwise, and it frees it up. Now, as you can see, I just flip it over because I have all this cabling here, so I don't actually want to remove it because I've actually hose tied it all down. Now, this is where the hood release cable is hooked onto. As you can see, this is one side of hood release mounting spot, and all you have to do is you just want to pull it back towards the engine enough so that this part of the clip right here releases from the radiator support bar, and then you do the same to the other side, and that's how it unclips, which is why we pull it towards the engine, and then why we lift it up a little. Sorry it's a bit noisy, guys, but we do have people working on the yard. Okay, now once you get to this part, what you have to do is you just have to remove this 10mm right here. Okay, that's the 10mm removed, and we'll just set it aside here, ready to put it back in. The next thing we want to do is remove this, and all you have to do is push it to one side and unclip it, because it only clips in with these two prongs here, as you can see. Now, in order to remove the grill, it's actually clipped in, kind of like how the rear diffuser is. So what we want to do is push forwards, and it will unclip, because it's clipped in like so. You have to push it down a little bit and then backwards, and it will actually come off. I'll show you guys right now. So what you want to do is grab it like so, but try not to apply too much pressure, because if you do, it will actually break. So what you want to do is push down a little bit and then push forwards like so. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how it comes off. Then you just have to lift it up like so. Oh, careful, guys. Now, as you can see here, from this part here, I'll actually zoom in for you guys. They're clipped in here, and the tabs, and these are the tabs right here. I'll show you guys a closer. As you can see, that's how it clips in. So what I was doing was pushing it down so it frees it off the clip, and then I pushed it forwards, and that's what allowed it to free up. As you can see how the tabs are. So now, in order to remove the star off the grill, there's 3 tabs that hold this black piece in place, so we can replace it with the light up star. In order to remove it, you have to pry on the surrounding silver part enough so that these clips can release. So what I do is I do this. I get my trim removal tool, I put it in there like so, and I part it while I pull forwards, and then you push down there. Now I've freed up that one. Then you do the same to the other side, right there. So I put my trim removal tool in, and I pry enough. There we go. See how I've just made enough room for this right here? There we go, and it will come out now. There we go. And then we have it out. And then for the top piece, we remove it like so. Now that comes out in one piece. If you ever wanted to just change the chrome star, all you have to do is, after this part, is pry on all these clips, and then the star will simply just come right off. For fitment, it's as easy as pushing it in, guys. Now remember that this is the top part. The longer prongs is where the top part is, and all you have to do is line it up like so into the gap here. You just have to line up these 2 prongs with the top part in the middle here, and then you just have to push it in and it will clip into place like so. Oh, sorry. Make sure your cable comes through, obviously, for your light up star. Feed the cable through first, and then once you feed the cable through, line up the top 2 prongs first, like so, and then just push it in, and you'll hear it clip into place. There you go, and that's in. There you go, guys, perfect. It was that easy. Now we just have to put it back onto the car, but we also have to run the wiring. And okay guys, now just to show you how I wired it. So basically I just let the cable sit in between the radiator support cover and the radiator support, so it will just sit along here, and then it just simply dangles down and plugs in. Now just to show you how I routed it, for demonstration purposes, I've unplugged it all, and I'm going to show you how simple it is to connect it to the fuse box, so that this light up star will simply turn on as soon as you turn the ignition on. Now to explain that properly, so basically you're connecting it to a switch 12-volt power source. So what that means is you will only get power to the star when you turn the ignition on, and then once you turn it off again, the light up star will turn off. Now that's what most people want, because it's the best way to just have your light up star going. But in my case, I decided to add a switch to my light up star, so I had to run the cabling through the firewall and then connect it to the switch so that I could control the light up star. Okay guys, now in order to test for a 12-volt switch power source, this is the easiest way you can do it without using a multimeter. So all you have to do is get a positive and negative line, like so. This is extra long because it's my testing cable. So like I said, all you have to do is connect positive and negative to the light source, and make sure you ground out your negative to bare metal of the car, so a grounding point of the car, and your positive, your bare metal positive here, that's what you're going to use to start touching fuses. Okay guys, and these are the metal parts that you're looking to touch. Okay, so make sure that you're actually making contact with these metal points of the fuse, or else obviously you're not testing it properly, which is why I do recommend to use something like this, so that you have a point of it and you can touch the fuse at the metal point like that. Now the way I've done it with my testing cable is also sufficient, but that's actually the best way to do it, so that you can make sure you're touching the fuse properly. As you can see, this still works, because as long as the cable can touch this metal point, then that's all you need. Okay guys, now this is the easiest way to connect it, so that you never have to worry about it draining your battery. Okay, so first thing, you want to find a switched 12 volt power source. Perfect place for that is the fuse box. This actually came with a 7.5 fuse, and I actually can't find what that fuse belongs to, but I know that it isn't connected to any airbags or anything critical that you shouldn't be tinkering with. Okay guys, now just to explain how it works, this is positive and negative, and I've simply connected negative to the grounding point of the car here. Make sure it's bare metal, so obviously they've used it for the car already, so obviously that is a very good grounding point. And then the positive, you simply connect it to a fuse tap line like so. And how this fuse line works is, the fuse that was sitting in the fuse slot will now become the bottom fuse, and the fuse you add in order to give your star power will now become the top fuse. So in my case, all I've used is a 5 amp fuse, and that's enough in order to run the light up star. And then all you do is plug it in like so, and you run the cable through this rubber point here. You just lift this rubber point up like so, and then your fuse tap line can sit in between the rubber point there, and that's it. How this works is, as soon as I turn on the car, you'll see this will get power. And I'll just show you real quick. Okay, so now I've got the key in the ignition, and that's the first point. And then as soon as I turn it to the second one, you see the light up star will get power. As you can see, there it is there. So as soon as you disconnect this fuse, there's no power, and as soon as you reconnect it, you get power. And that's how easy it is, guys. That's all you have to do. That's the best way to connect it, so you'll never have to worry about battery drainage, because it will only get power when you start the car. Now, that's actually really cool and all, but in my case, I actually wanted to be able to control the light up star, so I actually connected a switch to it. So in order to do that, what I have done is, because I tapped into a 12 volt power source already, all I had to do was run 2 negatives through the firewall at that rubber point that I showed you, and then to the switch. And the switch is just a simple on and off switch, so it's only got 2 prongs on it. And basically I ran the negative from the light up star through the firewall and to the switch, and the other switch is simply grounded to another point of the car. So because it already has its 12 volt power source, when the switch is off, it doesn't complete the circuit because there's no positive. And then once you flick it to the on position, it then completes the circuit, and then you have power to the star. And so if you want to do it the way I've done it, which is just my own personal way, so bear in mind. Now, I know it's not the standard practice, but it does work, guys. That's how easy it is to connect your light up star. A lot of people have connected it to like the parking lights or, you know, the fog lights, but like I said before, you don't want to be cutting any factory cables unless you absolutely have to. You know, I can't stress that enough. It's one of the things that I swear by, because the last thing you want to do is cut like a factory cable and then, you know, tap into it, whichever way you decide to do it, and then somewhere down the line it gets loose or something, and then, you know, the light just stops working because, you know, it's disconnected, or over time with wear and tear, you know, the cable flexes or whatever the case may be, and then it disconnects, and then you have other problems. But when you connect it this way, you don't have to worry about the battery draining, and the light up star will always be running. Now, if you do have fog lights and you want to be able, and you don't drive with your fog lights on and you only turn them on at night time, that would actually be a good way to go about it as well. But it all depends on personal preference. So in my case, I wanted to be able to control the star. That's why I connected it to a switch. And then with the switch, I can turn the star on and off whenever I please, as long as the ignition is on. Like I said, you're using a switched 12 volt power source. That way it will only have power when you turn the ignition on, but also because it's connected to a switch, it will only turn on when you actually flick it on as well. Now, that is probably the absolute best way to do it. That way you can actually, you know, turn it on and off when you want, and, you know, you have that cool feature. Truth is, you don't actually need it running during the day, and with the amount of hours that LED lights have,
you actually want to preserve as much as you can as well. I mean, even though it has like say 50,000 hours of runtime before the LED bulbs give in or something, so you have the choice of being able to turn it on at nighttime only, and then during the day you have the choice to flick it up, to turn it off as well, because the truth is no one's going to see that during the day. It's just not bright enough. Okay, and there you have it, guys. It's as simple as that. Okay, now just to show you guys how I actually connected my switch. So if you actually wanted to run the cabling to a switch inside under the driver footwell, the rubber grommet is right here. I'm tapping on it right now. There it is, right there. So basically I ran 2 grounds to my switch. For demonstration purposes, this is actually how I connected the switch. It's just 2 negative points. So you just have to connect the negative from the star all the way to the switch, and the other negative can be grounded at any point. And then now you have full control over your light up star. Just remember that if you are connecting a switch to it, you run it through the firewall where I showed you. Down in here you see the rubber grommet there, and make sure you go through the rubber grommet and don't just remove the rubber grommet completely and just run the cable through, because the rubber grommet is there to keep it airtight and the moisture out as well. So you know, just make sure that you do it right the first time, and then you won't have to go back and fix it later. Okay, now just to show you guys how it works. Now as you can see, I've got the negative from the cable connected to one of the prongs of the switch, and then the other prong is simply grounded to another point of the car, which is right here. Okay, and as you can see, now you have full control. So as I flick it off, when I touch, it doesn't work, and then when I switch it on, it simply turns on. There we go. Now you got full control, guys. See? And that is just so much cooler than having it running all the time, don't you reckon? You know, that's just so much better. So now remember, the positive is still connected to the fuse tap, and the negative is simply connected to the switch itself, and then the other prong of the switch is simply grounded. But you actually need to make sure you ground it, because if you don't, then you won't actually get the full circuit, and you won't be able to control it like so. See, if I disconnect one, it no longer works, but as soon as I reconnect it, then it works. See, that's just an example. Have a look. That's the on position, and now I touch it, it's on. So it's crucial that you connect both prongs, obviously, and that you don't just run it straight positive to negative. And best part about it, your battery will never drain, because your light up star isn't getting any power unless the car is actually switched on. So there you have it, guys. It's that easy, and now all you have to do is reassemble everything back together and you're done. Okay guys, now to reinstall it, what you have to do is, you can put this on or before, it doesn't really matter, it's totally up to you, but I normally put it on after. But anyway, so what you have to do is make sure you line up all the tabs at the bottom here. As you can see, it's still loose, you can just pull it out still. Now, all these tabs, and make sure these two are sitting in their groove. But before you press it down, line up all the tabs, make sure the tabs are sitting in the actual groove, and then pull it forwards like so, and it clips into place. You work from one side to the other, and then you press down and it locks into place, and there you have it, just like that. Then you can connect this back on by simply pushing these two prongs in. Remember, it has these two tabs here, so you just want to put one side in first and then push in the other side like so. There you go, and this is important because it actually holds the grill forward as well. So make sure you put it in properly. Make sure the prongs are sitting in the correct position, and use it to push out the front bar to where you want it, like so. And see, now the front bar is completely in. Now remember guys, make sure that the tabs are in the correct slot. Now you just have to put the 10mm screw back in, like so. Tighten it down. Okay, and then after you tighten that down, you see you basically have everything pretty close to back to where it was. Just double check everything, make sure that it has clipped into place. You will feel it. Just double check, make sure you run your hand inside, push the front bar forward as you pull the grill, push the front bar back towards the engine as you pull the grill towards you. And then that's it. Now the grill's in place. All we have to do is push this back on. Make sure you have your piping all back in place. Make sure that you also have the hood release cable back in its slot. Okay, there we go. Make sure it runs along and is fitted back into its groove where it belongs. Go. Yep. And now all you have to do is push it back down and let it clip back down into place, and then you are done, guys. There we go. Clip in, and don't forget to secure this back on. Just turn it horizontal, and there we go. Just like that. Perfection. That's all we have to do, guys. And now what you want to do is just double check everything, make sure it's all clipped in properly, and then use hose ties to secure the cabling. Now all we have to do is reinstall the air intakes, like so. I just simply push this in first, and then put this back on, clip that back down. As you can see, it's all secure now, and like I said, there is a little spot for the cable, and you can simply pull it back and forth. That means there is just enough room for the cable to be free. There you go, and there's the cable right there, and I've simply just connected it there, but I'll disconnect it because you do want it neat and underneath here, so make sure it's on the same side. Reconnect it and then just tuck it back in behind the grill, and that's it. Then simply reinstall the other air intake, and you are done, guys. That easy, isn't it? Look at that, you can't go wrong. And simply plug it back in. There you go. Make sure it clicks back in. Voila, just like that, boys and girls. Put everything back where it belongs. This is how it should look after you're done. Nice and clean. There we go. There's the cabling there. I've wrapped it. There we go. And make sure you cover that hole where the rubber grommet is. Make sure you push the rubber grommet back in down there, and there you have it, just like that, guys. Okay, so just to recap, the star cable is here, and it simply runs underneath this cover right here, and then it simply runs along through here and stops here, because that's the cable length. And then I've just extended the positive into the fuse box and the negative all the way to the switch through the firewall. And then the negative that came off the cabling is then plugged into the switch here, and this other one is simply grounded to this point of the car right there. And that's it, guys. Then it simply works on and off, and you have full control over the switch. And that's all it is. It's that easy, guys. Perfect. Now you can simply turn the start on and off as you please, so it's kind of like a cool feature. You can be like, hey guys, check me out, and then switch it on and then look real cool. But you know, apart from that, that's basically all it does. It just lights up when you choose to. But that is a better option than having it on all the time during the day. Okay, and there you have it, guys, the finished product. That's how nice it looks. And just to give you guys another close-up of all the wiring, because this is exactly how it should look. Nice, neat and tidy. Here we go. It runs along there.
then comes around, up, and finishes right there. And then the cable tucks underneath, and then in the rubber grommet right there. Okay, and just like I was trying to explain to you guys earlier, this is also the same place where you want the to run your amplifier cable. So as you can see here, I've got a 4 gauge, true 4 gauge amplifier cable here, and I've run it through there, but we're going to save that for another video. I just wanted to show you guys that this is also the same place that you would have to run your amplifier cable. Once again, nice and neat. As you can see there. And then it's just under here. This is where the cable is. As you can see, it just tucks out right here. And that's it. Here's the cable. There's the cable, and you also have all this free space here for the cable in case you need to unplug it, like so. And there you go, guys. That is the finished product. Look at how nice that looks, guys. That's the angel eyes I wanted to show you guys real quick. They're beautiful, isn't it? Look at how bright they are. And then right side. Beautiful. It just goes so nice with the light up star because it's all the same color. And now for the interior of the car. We simply have our switch right there. Off, on, off, on. And as you can see, it's all clean. You cannot see any wires hanging out anywhere. And there we have it. Well, there you have it, guys. How to install the light up star on the W204 and wire it to the fuse box using a fuse tap the proper way, and so that you never have to worry about battery drainage, as well as shorting out any other electrical components that you might tap into. Again, thanks for watching, guys, and remember, do whatever you got to do, and WAZZZZ and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Say bye, WAZZZZ! Thanks for watching! Bye bye! There's a good girl. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned for more videos. And remember, guys, if there's something that you want to see specifically, please comment below, let me know, and I'll be glad to make a video.